Ninth Limb Yoga, branded it, on my way to the Warrior Training Center where I'm teaching yoga and teaching yoga online. So one of the coolest things that's happened lately with training different martial arts, boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and some other things, you know, I've learned what's going on with my body since I stopped wrestling in university about 15 or 16 years ago. And through over a decade of stretching, especially 8 or 9 years of really going at it with the stretching, the yoga, my joints aren't the same as they were. Plus, with age and all of that other stuff, life experience, driving all the time. I mean, it changes your joints versus I grew up as this athlete and especially wrestling from like 13 to 21. So my joints and everything, it was just different. And so yoga really loosened up everything. And then when I'm just trying to, grapple, do the grappling arts or the fighting arts, and I need spring and explosion, and I need recoil, and I need integrity and soundness in the joints, and as well as mobility. How helpful that's been. It's incredible. Guys are very envious of the mobility. They haven't gone through what I've gone through to get the mobility, but there's a looseness. And I've also learned a lot about soreness recovery and this, like I said, this tightening up of the joints. Some mobility may be lost, but also some mobility was being estimated that wasn't really the kind of mobility we want. The joint doesn't need, like, how to describe the tissues. You want the muscles long and strong and able to contract, strength. And you want mobility in the joint, but sometimes we might be estimating our there's the right word. We might be estimating our flexibility based on some silhouette of the posture or where we're able to pull our foot to or something like that. Versus we don't need the joint pocket to really be moving around much. We don't want that. That's not going to be good. If you ever need to run to get away from something or defend yourself, or even just do some activity at levels above in intensity than you're used to. If you just do yoga for like a few years, and then you try to do some construction or labor, even like a mountain, like you may find that your knees and ankles, they become so loose because of like sitting on them in certain ways or really stretching it out. It wasn't a big deal when you live a sedentary lifestyle or a scholastic lifestyle, but that's not super fulfilling first of all, to not have like some intense exercise interspersed somewhere in your life. Like you need the heart pumping and the muscles, you need the exertion. It brings out a quality in you that there are aspects of your personality that just lay latent because you have experienced that intensity before. And so if you don't exercise through a certain intensity, you're not able to handle your mind. There's aspects of your psychology that get turned up when you're working out super hard or you're fighting for your life in jiu-jitsu or in real life. And yoga brings an alertness and awareness, good yoga practice, to all moments. So if you don't lose your yoga by doing some intensity, some exercise, fitness, martial arts or something. You do change your frequency and your wavelength, so you're going into a different kind of your personality, but you bring all of your yoga awareness with you. So you don't lose your yoga. You may lose a little bit of peace, but that's actually you're going to recoil much more peaceful after that. You turn up your turbulence, but you stick with your yoga practice, your meditation practice. When you do calm down and settle after intense physical exertion or fighting or fight training or whatever, you will calm down to levels beyond where you were. Because it's like stirring up the dirt or the soot at the bottom of a creek or a pool or something and then sweeping it away. It does make the water dirtier at first, but in the end it makes it cleaner. So gentleness, self-healing, it's tempting in all of this training that I do to really get super involved in the training, in the sense that maybe leave my yoga practice somewhat behind. And I've seen a lot of people do that. I do feel I've achieved some level of physical mastery, not necessarily in all the extreme mobility that you'll see contortionist style yogis be able to do, although I was able to do some incredible things, and maybe one day again. But just the studiousness, I think you can become fairly masterful at something in 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, I have a PhD, and I became very good at wrestling in 7 years. Very, very good. So 6, 7 years, you can do it, and I did. And I don't want to ever leave that behind. And as now I'm very solid in my transcendental meditation practice twice or 3 times a day if you do the advanced technique. And I don't see myself leaving that behind. And the yoga posture practice and the pranayama practice weaves so usefully into the meditation practice that it gives me a very big advantage over other meditators because of that. And my TM gives me a huge advantage over people who do not do exactly transcendental meditation, because it's very precise. It's not what I thought it was, reading whatever I had read about it when I was just getting into yoga, physical yoga stuff. And so those two combined, now with this warrior training, getting back into the fighting, and like what I'm saying to you at the beginning of the stream about what it does to my joints, I'm relearning gentleness in my recovery and how I can recover my joints, recover my physical integrity, and maintain this big advantage I have over other fighters in my mobility. And they all recognize there's a youthfulness, a sprightliness, a vitality, an ability to recover that I have because of my yoga and breathing and meditation practice that's beyond theirs. But if I give up my yoga, meditation, and breathing practice and just get into the fighting, I may always have a slight advantage because of the youthfulness that yoga has given me at 37 now. But that'll fade. You lose those credit points. I got to keep putting money in the bank. Every day I'm still doing my yoga. So like right now, I'm on my way to the Warrior Training Center where I teach yoga in person and online. And distilling all of what I've learned in yoga, whatever small fraction that is in my 5 to 7 years of really exploring it. And then I did another 2 to 3 years of intense practice with what I had learned. Now it's distilled down so much because I just don't have the time. I'm still a yogi. I meditate 40 to 50 minutes a day with shavasana afterwards. So that's an hour yoga practice every day for that. Plus the physical practice. I'm stretching, my mobility, warm-ups, and I get more or less practice in certain days. So it's not what it was, but I've taken what serves, right? That I've taken those key techniques that help me with my laptop work, with my cell phone work, with my driving, and with my martial arts, this lifestyle, to balance, to get the benefits of the circulation, all the things I've talked about in other videos. Like tension inhibits the circulation, so we're leaving that tension. Tension also pulls joints out of alignments, which causes other joints to go out of alignment because of muscle trains and how the muscles are connected with each other. When one is tight and pulling a joint out of alignment, rest assured it's pulling the whole skeleton out of alignment. You need balance. I'm not going to be able to make everything on my body flexible if I'm going to be a fighter and live in this modern world. But I want to balance the things that are more tense, got to loosen up. Got to free up the breathing so the rib cage expands as freely as possible. And of course, with ninth limb, I mean, it's all about communication. So we're looking for a mindset and a mentality. That's the yoga. And the physical practices that lend a hand to that help us become aware of our mindset and how to alter it. This is what we're going for. And we need physical techniques that actually very much physically benefit us, so that we're not just practicing things to get mental mastery that are hurting us physically. We need physical healing and mental healing, and gentleness is the way. A self-yoga practice with gentleness is the way. And yeah, all these other things. I study philosophy. There's lots of religions here and all sorts of things here that in my mind, in my noggin, that help me perceive life. Like mentality, the kind of mentality you cultivate physically is limited. You need to be able to socially navigate the world, or it's going to create perturbations in you. You'll get perturbed, and then you'll keep using your yoga practices like medicine for your inability to handle life in the world. And that's unacceptable. So you need the actual software in your mind, how to handle life, how to do the movements, speak, and everything. And you need the yoga practice for self-healing, alignment, circulation, for longevity and quality of life. And that'll come out in the quality of communication, which is what this is all about, ninth limb yoga. All right. Thank you, everybody. That was 10 minutes of mindset. And click the link in the description if you want to join me online. Twice a week, every week, Saturday and Sunday. It's about a 30 to 35-minute class. You get the recording, and the price goes up at the beginning of next month. It goes up. Every month it goes up until I don't want to raise it anymore. Right now it's at $55. Oh, J Guru Dev.